A woman in Washington barely escapes a masked man who chases her to her front door. A guy in North Carolina went to open his door and came face to face with a dangerous animal coiled around the handle. And in Utah, a family dispute turned into a deadly ambush when a man showed up at his brother's house, opened fire, and tried to set the place ablaze. These are terrifying things captured on doorbell cameras. So this one is straight up terrifying. A woman in Kent, Washington caught the exact moment when she was followed home by a masked guy with a firearm. All of it recorded on her home doorbell camera. You can see him run up behind her just as she gets to her door, and she manages to slam it shut literally right before he reaches her. It just makes your stomach drop. The footage was originally shared on Reddit by a now deleted user a couple years back, with a warning that people, especially in the Asian community, were being followed and targeted like this. Apparently, Kent had already been dealing with a wave of these follow home style robberies, which is why the city actually partnered with Ring in the first place. This clip shows exactly why. This is a wild video though. If she'd been even a second slower, this would have ended way differently. In April of 2023, a doorbell camera in North Ogden, Utah captured something horrifying. A man named Jeff Roberts showed up at his brother Scott's home, rang the bell, and after a short conversation at the door, pulled the firearm out and shot him. The two had been in a long feud over their mother's estate. Jeff didn't stop there either. He went inside, fired at Scott's wife Jody, who fortunately lived, then lit the house on fire using road flares. But instead of running, he went back to his van, grabbed more weapons, and waited, clearly expecting a standoff with police, and that's exactly what happened. When 3 officers arrived, Jeff opened fire. One officer took cover behind a brick mailbox as bullets zipped past him, hitting the mailbox and his car. Somehow he wasn't hit. The officers fired back more than 50 rounds and killed Jeff on the front steps of the burning house. All of this was captured on this doorbell camera. Investigators later found a 27-page letter in Jeff's van where he ranted about how his family had cut him out of the estate. He believed his brother and uncle manipulated their mother and turned her against him. Friends said he'd been bitter for years. Back in November of 2019, a doorbell camera in Los Angeles recorded something that's still haunting people in the neighborhood today. A woman screaming for help, like her life was depending on it. And it is very possible that's exactly what the case was. You don't actually see the woman in the video, but you can certainly hear her. A neighbor's security camera picked up the audio, and another nearby camera caught a white car speeding away right after. Witnesses said they saw a woman with dark braided hair in the front seat, screaming as a man pulled her hair back. One person reported hearing the man say, I'm sorry, while the woman cried out for help. Police looked through missing persons cases in the area, but they never figured out who the woman was or exactly what happened. The LAPD said they couldn't tell if it was a kidnapping, a domestic situation, or something else entirely. To this day, no one knows what became of the woman in the video. This one's nuts. So a guy walks up to his door, reaches for the handle, and then pulls his hand back like he's just seen a ghost. He didn't see a ghost, but it's just as scary, if not worse, for some. He hadn't expected to see a snake chilling right there, and I definitely didn't see that coming either. Footage was captured in Salisbury, North Carolina, and posted to TikTok by user tbarber959799. Now, I gotta ask, is this a common thing in North Carolina? Let me know in the comments. The video is short, but it is so good, not just for the snake surprise, but also the guy's reaction. We all felt that woo. And then there's the cat just sitting there staring at the snake, completely unbothered. Gotta love cats. Anyway, not as scary as a lot of the other stuff on this list, but I don't know, I figured we needed a slight break. This footage was uploaded to YouTube by a man named Michael Hernandez, whose doorbell camera saved him and his family's life. He wrote in the description, at around 3:30 a.m. my family and I were woken to my Wink and Ring app notifying me that there was a motion at the front door. The app must have sounded 3 to 4 times before I finally woke up. Once I opened my eyes, I noticed flames coming from my bedroom window. I immediately ran to the front door to turn on the hose, but couldn't because it was way too hot. I ran back out to try and extinguish the fire with an extinguisher while my fiance called 911. This is pretty wild footage. I mean, it is crazy how fast this small fire turns into a full-on inferno engulfing the front of the house. terrifying. Back in 2021, a stalker in Dallas, Texas had been standing outside a woman's apartment door every night. The woman posted footage from her doorbell cam on Twitter along with the caption, "This is what I've been dealing with since October 31st. This man has been outside my apartment almost every night. I have contacted everyone that I know to contact about this. What is it gonna take for y'all to protect and serve?" Very unsettling situation indeed. I mean, we're not pausing the footage here. The guy just stands there, perfectly still, staring at her door. Fortunately, she provided an update, later writing, "I am safe for now. I have friends and family here that confronted him, so hopefully he stays away. Since my post has gone viral, last night security did 2 routines throughout the night. Thank you everyone for the continued support." Here we see a couple Jesse Pinkman looking guys trying to rob a woman's house. Is anyone gonna get the Jesse Pinkman reference? I don't know, Breaking Bad, it feels like it just ended yesterday, but that was like, what, 2010 that ended? Oh my god, it's nuts. Anyway, the homeowner was fortunately at work when these guys showed up, but she shared the video with her neighbors online and the men were found and arrested. They were pretty dumb. It's really silly because they both come up and they knock on the door, then one of them looks down, sees the camera and says out loud, "Oh crap, there's a camera," so they immediately turn around and walk away. So now you look suspicious. I mean, no one would have really thought anything, right? Until you did that, you're just knocking on the door. And then it just gets dumber because they come back 1 minute later after being captured on video exclaiming, "Oh, there's a camera," before rushing away. So what do they do now when they come back? Well, they try to kick the door down, but the homeowner starts talking over the speaker and they just run off again. I wonder why these two were so easy to track down. Back in 2017, a massive fire broke out at the City Place Apartments in Overland Park, Kansas. It was so big, fire crews from all over the area raced in to help. While all that was happening, a guy named Matt Bell was just sitting at work when he got a motion alert from his doorbell camera. He opened it up, couldn't believe what he was seeing. Flames were ripping through the apartment building behind his house. His camera caught it all as the fire started to spread, and Matt watched helplessly as the flames jumped to his bushes and trees not far away. His neighbor's house was already on fire. At that point, Matt figured his own place might be next. In the end, his house had some damage. There was a hole in the roof, scorched deck, some ruined patio furniture, but it could have been way worse. Homes around him were not so lucky. A lot of them were completely destroyed. At least 22 houses were damaged in total, thanks to flying embers. This next one is just really cool, honestly. Back in 2018, a doorbell camera in Alberta, Canada captured a blazing meteor lighting up the night sky. The footage is so clear that you can actually see the meteor breaking apart mid-air, creating this massive flash before disappearing. Experts who saw the video said the meteor likely exploded in the sky and its fragments landed just east of Fort McMurray. Thanks to the camera's angle and timing, the video gave scientists a much better shot at tracking down those pieces. And if you're ever lucky enough to see something like this, you might want to know that meteorite chunks can go for about $10 per gram, which is lower than I would have expected. I mean, it's something that came barreling down to Earth from up in space, right? I mean, meteor fragments help scientists get a better understanding what our solar system would have looked like billions of years ago. $10 per gram. This final clip is exactly why people get doorbell cameras. A guy gets woken up in the middle of the night by someone repeatedly ringing his doorbell, which is rarely ever a good sign. People don't usually show up at your door with good news at 3 a.m. Well, when the dude checks the camera, he sees this. An older woman standing there, kind of swaying back and forth, holding what looks like a kitchen blade. She's not really saying anything, just standing there, ringing the bell over and over. Can't help but wonder what might have happened if he'd opened the door without checking first. Was she confused? Was she actually dangerous? Hard to say. One thing is for sure, if he didn't have the camera, this could have ended way differently.
Number 10, we have a masked monkey wrench wielder. That's a tongue twister, you try it. Anyways, Mary Simonton, the YouTube user who posted the video, says she found out later that this was just a trick-or-treater, but before that she was initially really scared because she didn't know the context. And me too, like just have a look for yourself. This trick-or-treater rolls up at 7:06 p.m. on Halloween looking like, as Mary says, something out of The Purge. They are wearing a gray hoodie with a Purge-style mask and wielding a red monkey wrench. Like, while I'm sad this person didn't get the candy they were looking for, as we all should on Halloween, I don't blame Mary for for steering clear. If you're at home alone and that shows up at your door, it's just better safe than sorry. Like, seriously, I legit went out trick-or-treating as a serial killer when I was 11 and I was less intimidating. That being said, I was dressed like a spoon while holding a butter knife to a mini box of corn pops, so obviously I wasn't that scary and it wasn't a cool costume, I have to admit, but I'll be better this year, I swear. Anyways, enough about me, let's move on to number 9. This one, we have a masked figure covering the camera. This video was uploaded to YouTube by user Jeff Davis, who said he was notified by his Ring doorbell that someone was at the door. This was shortly after him and his partner put their kids to bed. As you can see in the video, a masked figure comes up to the door and immediately covers the doorbell with what I believe is a sticker. After 4 seconds, the adhesive on one side wears off and suddenly peels away. But when this happens, the person is nowhere to be seen. Like, where did they go? Davis asked in the description whether viewers think it was kids up to no good or something more sinister, but what do you think? When I looked into this user, it didn't seem like he was hunting for views, so I think it's legit. It's creepy thinking that people out there are doing things like this for pranks when it's more than a little unsettling, right? That happened to me. I don't know. But anyways, on to number 8. We have what appears to be a clown with a machete. So another creepy one, alright. So we know that every once in a while there is a creepy clown phase that happens, and one result of these phases are clowns ringing doorbells. This time it's a clown appearing at a house in Toledo, Ohio. In this video we see a person wearing dirty white coveralls with yellow rubber gloves and a clown mask, and they're holding a machete. This person saunters up and hovers around the door before ringing the doorbell about 30 seconds into the video. At this point we get a good look at the creepy mask this person is wearing. This is where I know I'd be freaking out. If I saw this, I'd freaking scream, and I'm not even afraid of clowns. Don't try to tell me that you wouldn't be just at least a little bit scared if this shows up on your doorstep in the middle of the night. Jeez. But next, something good happens, I think. It appears the clown figure realizes the doorbell has a camera and walks off, or he realizes the doorbell has a camera and decides to try another entrance, but who knows? One thing is, with number 7, we know the outcome of the scary situation that was caught on camera. This video takes place in Dallas when the homeowner was at work. 2 men come up to her door and one knocks, but they leave quickly when they see the camera in the doorbell.
Oh, there's the camera right there. What's that doing?
Already, this seems suspicious. The house's owner, Kate, feels like something's not sitting right too, so she stays on the line with the Ring doorbell cam. It's a good thing she does, because within minutes the two are back and attempting to kick down her door.
Hello? Cops are on their way.
The homeowner, Kate, scares them off just by saying hello. Then, as they run, she warns them that the police are on their way. A little epilogue for you: the 2 men aren't caught right away, but within a couple of weeks, with the help of Ring, the doorbell provider spreading the footage, the 2 men are arrested. Which, good thing, because I wouldn't want anyone trying to like kick down my door, because I don't know, what if the hinges are rusty? I'm afraid. Ooh. But not everyone gets as smooth an experience with Ring, the doorbell camera thing, as Kate did, the last homeowner. At number 6, we have the creepy case where the voice answering the doorbell wasn't the voice of the owner of the house. This video was uploaded by YouTube user Brian Goley back in October of 2017. When he got a Ring doorbell from Home Depot, it appeared to have been one that was returned before, you know, slightly opened in the case. And even after having the account apparently wiped, he was hearing another man's voice answering his doorbell for him.
Yo.
Who is this? Why is somebody...
Imagine forgetting your keys and ringing the doorbell to your own house only for someone else to say a little hello? Spooky, right?
Why are you answering my doorbell?
Somehow it's getting disconnected to my doorbell.
With his wife and him thoroughly creeped out,
But at the same time, it's like, do I really want to know who's standing outside my house? Not really. It's scary.
Number 10, doorbell licker. And immediately into the weird. Here we go. I'm wasting no time today. This one's short and sweet. Not much explaining to do here. Back in 2019, a man was caught on camera approaching a home in a neighborhood in Salinas, California. He was seen through this Ring camera. Now, he doesn't say much. He just shows up and immediately he starts licking the doorbell. Not the camera, but the actual button, like the actual doorbell. He must have rang the bell thousands of times because he did this for 3 hours straight. The homeowner said in a following interview after seeing the footage, they said, and I quote, "Oh boy, that is just weird." Yeah, oh boy indeed, that's quite weird. I'm getting a doorbell camera tomorrow. Number 9, Vegas visitor. This one was quite recent. Watching the video absolutely freaks me out. This is terrifying. This happened just over a year ago in Las Vegas. This was at 8:20 p.m. It's barely nighttime, and this man shows up out of nowhere, and the doorbell cam catches him asking to come inside the house. He's asking the homeowner over and over if he can enter, and then proceeds to announce horrible things that he'll do once inside the house. This is terrifying. This guy is also humongous. He could kick this door down if he wanted to. He also announces that he has weapons on him, and then he announces that he intends to use said weapons. It's so jarring. This guy was thankfully arrested later on thanks to this doorbell camera being on. Don't answer the door to anyone. Just play it safe always. I didn't answer the door to the paper kid growing up because it's not worth it. People are so scary. And also that kid was weird. Number 8, TV head. Stepping away from the worst of the worst for a hot minute, let's shine the spotlight on some weird stuff, you know? Like for example, the guy wearing a TV on his head. Yep, that's pretty weird. That's a thing, apparently. I actually remember seeing this a few years ago. It kind of spooked me. Back in 2019, this man would appear in Virginia and he visited more than 50 residents. He would show up with the TV on as a head, and then if that wasn't already weird enough, he would leave an old TV on your doorstep. They're all old, humongous TVs. They're so annoying to move. Also, at the same time, this is so creepy. Middle of the night, this guy shows up. Many believe this man was inspired by the comic book series Saga. There's a race of, TV alien heads in that comic. So this could be a fan of Prince Robot IV. Who knows? Either way, this is so annoying. Like imagine an elderly couple waking up having to figure this out on a Sunday morning. That's so inconsiderate. Don't do this. Don't be a prankster. Get out of here. Number 7, attempted break-in. This one happened around 2 p.m. Another horrifying encounter happening in broad daylight. How is this? This is so scary. 2 men attempted to kick the front door down and break in an Oakland, California home. One man rang the bell. The person who was home at the time was wearing headphones, listening to music, so luckily they didn't hear the initial doorbell ring. The man came back again with a partner shortly after, and this time they tried ringing again, and then after getting no response, he attempted to kick the door down. Now the person who was home did hear this, and they yelled, and the attackers luckily fled the scene. This is so terrifying. This happened in the middle of the day. Just no matter what, if you don't know the person, don't answer the door, call 911. Easy, play it safe. Number 6, Matt doesn't live here. This one I need your help on, honestly. There's a backstory here and we need to find it. We need to figure this out. Back in 2016, in the middle of an August summer night, this man approaches, topless, always a great sign. And as he's slowly approaching this home, he's looking back at somebody off camera, right? He has the I'm about to ring the doorbell and run away vibe. You know what I'm saying? He's looking back, he's getting ready, he's stretching his arms out, something's gonna happen. But instead of knocking and running, he pretends to knock, he knocks the air, and then pretends to ask somebody if Matt's home. He does it so the other person can clearly see him doing this. So I don't know if it was a dare or some sort of attempted break-in that we just can't yet decipher, but either way, it's jarring. Sound off in the comments down below. What was this guy doing? Number 5. A grim warning. This one comes from user rightmind2723. Great name. They say, we had a series of break-ins in our neighborhood when doorbell cameras first came out. So we got one because my husband often worked late and I would be home alone with the kids. Great idea. I'm starting to understand your username. Right mind indeed, my friend. Very right mind. Since they were so new, most people didn't know that it was a camera. So one night my phone pinged that there was a movement. I pulled it up and it was 2 guys talking about if they should try and go to the back of the house to break in. I was on the line with 911 so fast and the cops arrived even faster. The cops caught them both and it turns out these were the 2 men responsible for all of the other break-ins. Yeah, they didn't realize I was home. Neighbors all got cameras after this. Yeah, as they should. You should get 7% of their profits. That's like, you know what, you got some deals. 20 people buy stuff, that's, you're working for them. Again, play it safe, call 911, hide. Exhibit A. Number 4, found a key. Ooh, this one comes from Reddit user ending is near here. Okay, solid name, a little more spooky than the last, but we'll like it. They say, once I got an alert that someone was at the door. My dog was also barking at the time, but I didn't hear a knock. I then heard something myself, so I checked the camera, and I saw this younger looking guy at the doorstep. He had walked up and tried to unlock my front door with what I guess was a key he found on the ground close to my house. Luckily, he didn't get in. This happened in broad daylight with cars still in the driveway. Yeah, these types of scenarios always creep me out. People love hiding keys and like fake rocks in front of their homes. Don't do this, no way. People know about these. They will look for fake rocks. Also, they're pretty obvious most of the time. I don't know. Keep your spares very hidden. People will try anything at any time. Number 3, sleepwalker. My brother Kyle has night terrors. This man would get up in the middle of the night and just start doing dishes and whistling. It was so terrifying. I truly feel bad for sleepwalkers, okay? I get it. Not as much as Kyle, but I get it. I've seen it. This one comes from Reddit user Raging Ball of Fury. Amazing name. They say, my little brother is a sleepwalker. We'd gotten an alert and saw that he had snuck out of the house while we were still asleep. And my sister said she heard someone talking just outside of the front door. I went to look and I saw my brother sitting on the porch, apparently having a conversation with our grandfather despite being alone at the time. She says he was saying, I love you and I'm going to miss you. Nice stuff like that. My dad got him back inside the house without waking him up, which is also so impressive, side comment, and nobody gave it much thought until a couple hours later when my uncle called telling us my grandfather had passed away while he was asleep. My little brother says he doesn't remember any of this, but we got it all on video. We can't hear what he's saying too clearly, but he was definitely talking to somebody, and he sure as heck said, I'm going to miss you, at least twice. That's touching. I had to throw in a nicer one before we, get yucky again. Number 2. Not cops. Immediately back into the terrifying again. This is a hard one. If I saw this outside my front door, I would have probably opened the door. I don't know, this is confusing. This is why doorbell cameras with audio are vital, okay? This comes from an anonymous source. They say, I have a camera doorbell. The creepiest thing I ever saw was the night I had 2 cops come to my door. They stood outside the door talking to each other about if I was home or not and who would have me first or try and break in first. I was at home at the time and my dog alerted me by whining at the door. So I checked the DV cam, saw them, listened to them talking for about 10 seconds before I myself called the real 911. The operator told me they didn't have any cops in my area at the time and to stay away from the door and to put at least one more locked door between me and them and to stay on the line and to be quiet until the real cops could get there. This is how you do it, okay. I live around the block from a fire department, so it was less than 2 minutes when a fire truck pulled up, then these 2 fake cops ran away. God, that's so scary. The amount of videos I've seen online where people pretend to be police officers, it's terrifying. And also so cringe. Just like a dude trying to pull you over, he's like grabbing a non-existent vest. I'm like, what are you doing? Get a job. Unless you call them, pretend like you aren't home. Just hide, or unless you're a criminal, then for sure come out. It's over, Buster, right? You're going to jail. And finally, number 1. Not hired help. This one is very controversial in the comments. I need to know where you all stand on this matter, because I myself am on the fence. I wanted to end this video off on a little question mark. This footage is from 2017, and the description of the video says, a suspicious man walks to my door and has no clear answers to my questions and then leaves. Thanks to Ring Doorbell for saving the day yet again. Okay, quite the description, so I watched it, I read the comments, let's talk shop. Half of the comments here are upset at the user. They're defending this man off the bat, saying clearly it sounds like he was part of the crew that had laid the tile outside of the homeowner's door previous, right? It must have been a long time ago, and if you're not the original homeowner, he's mixing you up with somebody else. Somebody else comments how the guy noticed a package on the ground, but he didn't steal it. So he's not a thief, right? Others think he's trying to get more work done by coming back to the same location, right? My take on this, again, if you don't know who's at your door, you don't have to get it. You're an adult. That's it. Enough said. That's your home. You can do whatever you want. You just pretend like you're taking a That's it. Sorry, I missed the door. This person in the recording was talking to the man, and they told him that they weren't home for another 20 minutes because they were in a meeting. They were a little bit too polite in a sense, even if it was okay to be polite to someone. You know what I mean? Never tell anybody you're home. Stay safe. Okay? That's it. Stay safe. That's how I'm gonna end this.
Starting off this list in our number 10 spot, we have a cautionary tale. We are starting off spooky today with this one. This video serves as a reminder to always be aware of your surroundings. This video shows a woman and her son coming home, and it appears to be dark outside. Nothing is out of the ordinary. They're just getting inside and talking about their evening routine, that sort of thing. The danger only comes once the door is closed and we see a man quickly approach the door that they just went through. The guy tries to open the door, but thankfully they had already locked it and he wasn't able to. The woman sees the man either through the door or on the doorbell camera, and she begins telling him to get out of there. He clearly was watching them and waiting for them to enter, hoping that they wouldn't have locked the door so quickly. Like I mentioned before, it's just a great reminder to always watch your surroundings. You unfortunately never know.
Number 9, the bare necessities. The first of the many bear clips coming in this list. Here we go. Now, it's one thing for a person to try and enter your home out of the blue. That's pretty jarring. But when an animal does it, it can be a lot harder to handle. Like say, I don't know, a bear, for example. This doorbell recording is, I'm not gonna lie, it's pretty badass. It's not even a year old. You've probably seen it, hopefully not. It's straight out of Daytona Beach, Florida. A man was chilling on his porch one evening with his puppies, and a bear, I guess, saw the puppies and then just decided to approach. Not in a calm demeanor. After growling and pushing the bear back, the man quickly used a bench to block the bear from coming back again. Yeah, good thing you had that bench, that giant bench just handy. That's crazy. Who has a bench? Must be nice.
In our number 8 spot today, we have a strange moment. Okay, I'm not gonna lie, I have talked about this video on the channel before, and I'm bringing it back for this one because this remains one of the strangest things I've ever seen, and we see a lot of weird stuff here on Most Amazing Top 10. Why don't you actually leave us a comment down below on what the strangest thing you can remember seeing on this channel is. I'm sure there's some of you out there who have some pretty good ones. This doorbell footage shows a stranger approaching the door, and instead of knocking or attempting to rob them or threatening them, he instead just begins licking their doorbell. There is no amount of doorbell licking that is an appropriate amount, but I have to say this guy really overdoes it. Like, he is absolutely going to town on their doorbell. So much so, they probably had to get a new one, because at what point do you just let that slide? Would you ever feel comfortable touching that doorbell again? Letting your guests touch it, knowing what it went through? I just simply couldn't. I don't want that weighing on my shoulders. Anyway, this video is definitely one I'd call concerning.
Number 7. Parkour. If you're not thinking about getting a doorbell camera at this point, well, perhaps this next clip might do the trick. Let's see. Now, this is the middle of the night. This guy is trying to climb onto the roof, it seems. Maybe a window was open. He was trying to Romeo and Juliet situation. I don't really know. Who knows? But it doesn't seem like he knew there was a camera there, which is the most alarming part. Imagine checking the footage the next morning and it's just a stranger bouldering your front door. That's probably pretty alarming. It's just his crotch right there for about 2 minutes. It's not very healthy for the soul.
In our number 6 spot today, we have bad intentions. This video is taken from a Ring doorbell camera, and it captures something very real and terrifying. This video shows 2 robbers going up to the house and knocking on the door, hoping for the family inside to open the door. Apparently, the one who knocks on the door was even saying the name of one of the family members, so it's likely that they somehow knew each other. Luckily, the family obviously checked the camera before heading to the door and saw this because they were actually home at the time and no one answered. The robbers didn't even try to break in, but were obviously waiting for someone to open the door, which feels really sinister.
Number 5. Busted. Welcome to the future. This is why you don't try and steal a bike in 2022. Or 2021 if you can go back in time. If you're a time traveler, don't do it then either. You're gonna get caught, and you're gonna get caught in 4K.
Can I help you with something? Can you please put that back?
I didn't take anything. I just looked at it. My bad. I took a piss, and then I saw it was a bike. I just looked at the bike. Sorry.
Imagine getting caught and having a conversation in real time with the homeowner. How embarrassing is that? Backpack Brandon over here decided to hop into a stranger's backyard, urinate, and as if that wasn't already, enough red flags, Backpack Brandon decides to take a peek under this tarp at an expensive motorcycle. Yeah, it's not looking very good. Not looking very nice in your case there, my friend. That's when the owner luckily hops onto the hot mic inside the house, and they have a real life conversation right there.
My bad.
Gotta leave the house. The police are on the way.
Get cameras, because you never know. Somebody's curious bladder might just roll up onto your back or front yard.
In our number 4 spot today, we have doorbell footage. This next footage comes from a doorbell camera, and it shows the terrifying moment a stranger begins trying to break into a woman's home. She starts off by kind of backing up and just throwing her body into a window until it breaks. The stranger wasn't in any immediate danger, she was fine, but it does appear as though she may be a little bit confused about her whereabouts, which is of course a huge problem and is for sure kind of sad. The woman whose home it is rightfully pretty freaked out and concerned about what is happening. I mean, I mentioned how the stranger trying to break in is confused, so you can imagine how confused the lady, who was probably just trying to sleep, was. Eventually, a police officer shows up and speaks to the woman who claims that her friend is in the house. Obviously, this isn't the case, but this is why I believe she may have been confused as to where exactly she was. In the end, everyone left the situation safely, but the tensions were definitely high.
Number 3, Balloon Kid. It's one thing to catch a bear or a person sniffing and or licking your front door, but sometimes you catch bizarre once-in-a-lifetime incidents, like this one, for example. What a graceful landing, first of all, and also, where did this come from? Who does this? What, is this like a neighborhood common occurrence? Hot air balloons are terrifying. Yeah, here, hop in this wicker basket and we'll see what happens. We'll see where you end up. Maybe someone's backyard, I don't know. How do you even steer these things? We'll fill it with hot breath and you'll sail around the world. So romantic. Have you ever rode in a hot air balloon? Is it romantic or is it terrifying? Comment down below because, I don't know, we're both afraid of heights. A hot air balloon. Imagine a hot air balloon date. That would be our collective demise. No way.
In our number 2 spot today, we have the nosy neighbor. This doorbell video, or really series of videos, shows a nosy neighbor trying their hardest to destroy the camera that their neighbor has set up. I'm not sure why they feel so strongly about these cameras, but clearly he does, because he will not let them rest. He tries his hands, a screwdriver, he tries a hammer for the camera in the back. Clearly this guy doesn't want the camera around, but I have to ask the question as to why. Why is he so worried about these cameras on his neighbor's property? Seems a little suspicious to me.
And finally, number 1, can't bear it. All right, we're gonna finish with another bear clip. Actually 2, we're gonna do a 2-for-1 because it's Christmas. Well, at least it's Christmas in this recording, in this doorbell recording. Here we go. 2018 in Florida. It's the holiday season and this black bear is in no festive mood, my friends. Look at this little Grinch right here. First, he knocks over the lovely decor, and then just to wake everybody up, he politely boops the doorbell with his nice damp little nose. Oh, they're so cute. I want to pet it, but I don't want to lose my arm, so never pet a black bear. Deal. There's the link, we'll put it in somewhere. If you're wondering how you can avoid such an encounter, put up a cross. Yeah, apparently crosses hanging outside of your home compels bears from trashing your front doorstep. Yeah, this one here is from Alaska. This bear stands up, which first of all, so jarring, stands up, looks at the cross, and then decides, I'm gonna head out. I'm not a religious man myself, but it seems a few black bears are, so there you go, the more you know.
Coming in at number 10 is Let Me In. Now Mandy set up Ring cameras around her rural property to capture footage of the wildlife, but when the mom of 2 was out with her family one night, she got a notification about movement near her back door. When she looked at the footage, she noticed a shadow before someone loudly whispers the words, "Let me in." There is then rapid scratching as if someone is trying to enter her home. Now terrified by the encounter, she started closely monitoring her cameras, and when she found more footage of a figure lurking near her back shed, and then another night a cloaked person slowly walked up to her backyard, staring up at her house. Now in the first clip, a strange figure walks into the corner of the frame and lingers near Mandy's back shed before leaving. In the second clip, the person makes her way into the backyard and stands just a meter from the back steps near where Mandy was tending to her sick baby inside. "We notified authorities, but this is making me feel angry, confused, and concerned," she said. Now Mandy went on to explain that she had now added extra security cameras with floodlights and that the US couple are now armed in order to protect their family from any future trespassers. Now people were incredibly disturbed by the footage Mandy had captured, saying they believed the first one to be a spirit, but the second one to be an actual person messing with the family. Yeah, I think they need to move ASAP. Number 9. Are you sure? Now this footage scares me to my core. It shows a man approaching a house and repeatedly knocking on the door while repeating, "I just have a couple questions for you. Are you sure?" Now this goes on for a couple of minutes before a man responds over the Ring doorbell. At this point, the footage turns all the more unsettling as the man at the door says he wants to take advantage of and end the life of the woman inside the house. Now the footage was shared by Amanda Nowak of Las Vegas, and according to Amanda, she was inside the house hiding during the entire encounter. Now the man never saw her and was never actually speaking directly to her in the tense 3 minutes, and thankfully the man has been arrested, but that doesn't make the footage any less unnerving. Number 8. past homeowner. Apparently, if your family owned a property decades ago and sold it, that still means it's yours. Well, at least according to Judy Klein. Since January 2022, she has been harassing a Mexican family in St. Louis, Missouri, accusing them of being in the country illegally. Over several incidents, Judy had broken into their basement, damaged items, racial his family, and threatened them with a hammer. It wasn't until ring footage of her shouting obscenities on the family's doorstep was put online that the authorities took things more seriously. In the past year, Judy had reportedly only been taken into custody temporarily, which is why she kept coming back. In February 2023, Judy was arrested on several charges, including burglary and using a weapon. In June, she gained another offense with interference of housing rights, and now she's also banned from being near or contacting the family. Number 7. The Masked Man. Finding a masked man at your front door in the middle of the night can be pretty scary, but when that man returns to your home 3 times in 1 week, it's downright frightening, a blogger for Ring explains. Now they said that because that's exactly what happened to a family in Milford, Connecticut. After just a couple of days into their vacation, where they were more than 100 miles away from their home, Ring alerted them that a masked man was at their front door. Though he couldn't break in, he returned a few days later. Now despite the family sending the videos to police and local news stations, the man returned again. This time, however, he was arrested, and thank God, because who knows what he would have tried to do. Number 6. Poison. A man who lived below a family in Florida got fed up with hearing noises from above him and felt that his complaints were not being heard, so he tried to poison them, and it was caught on camera. Umar Abdullah, his pregnant wife, and their young daughter moved into the apartment complex in June 2022. The man below them soon began sending angry texts to his new neighbors, complaining that he was losing sleep over the sound of a toilet seat clanging. Soon after, the family suddenly began experiencing unexplained bouts of nausea and dizziness. A family friend first noticed a chemical odor while grabbing a package for them while they were away on vacation. Umar then also noticed the scent and suspected an issue with his water heater. However, the stench persisted even after he replaced the appliance and had his air ducts and vents cleaned. Now desperate for resolution, he called the fire department, who conducted tests but found nothing amiss. Now he eventually noticed a small crack in his doorway and began to suspect his neighbor. After falling ill yet again, he set up a hidden camera outside his door and was shocked to see his neighbor crouching down and emptying a syringe under his front door. The man used a laboratory on the University of South Florida campus to mix and load liquid syringes on multiple occasions with the intent to harm residents of the condominium. He was then arrested on June 27th, and a hazmat team revealed the liquid chemical agent contained a combination of methadone and hydrocodone, both opiate pain medications. Now, word of the shocking poisoning sent other residents of the Oxford Place at Tampa Palms into a state of panic, and according to a suit, they seek to kick out the man and his co-owner roommate from the complex. Number 5. Standing visitor. A woman who wished to remain anonymous checked her doorbell camera to find a stranger standing outside her house and staring for a few minutes. The resident, who lives in one of the houses in the Darlings of Hart Village near Hartpool, said the incident happened at 3:15 a.m. on Monday, January 31st, 2022. She shared the alarming footage to a local community Facebook page and warned other residents to be careful. In the clip, a tall, skinny-built man in a dark-colored jacket walks to the footpath right in front of her house and stops midway. He stalls and appears to check on his phone before stepping forward again, taking a pause. Now, according to the timestamp, he stayed for about 6 minutes before he walked away from the camera. The woman said he stood there for a few minutes from 3:15 a.m. to 3:21 a.m. She added then that he disappeared for an hour, not sure where, and then he came back running from the side of her house into a car. Nothing seems to be taken, but it's just super creepy, she said. She asked her neighbors to see if they have seen the man near their houses, but they said no, but a resident replied on her Facebook page that something similar happened to them a few weeks ago. Number 4. Kidnapping. On November 12, 2019, disturbing footage of a woman screaming for help was captured from a Ring doorbell camera in Los Angeles around 11 p.m. Now, the police were not aware of the doorbell footage until the following morning, but responded to a report of a possible kidnapping. LAPD officer Mike Lopez said responding authorities could not find evidence of a crime, and after the footage came to light, the LAPD reopened their investigation. Now, the screams were thought to be coming from a white vehicle that drives down the street. A woman is heard yelling, "Somebody help me," and a witness claims she also heard a man say, "I'm sorry." Now, what's crazy about this footage though is that the neighbor comes out of her house and hears all the screaming and does absolutely nothing. The bystander effect is truly disgusting, and she could have saved that woman. Number 3. doorbell licker. On January 8, 2019, police started searching for a man in Salinas, California, who spent 3 hours licking a doorbell in the middle of the night. The individual in question, Roberto Daniel Aurora, was easy to track down thanks to a newly installed surveillance system at the home. The Duggan family were not home when Roberto made his way to their doorbell, but their children were. Roberto also moved an extension cord in the front yard, and he relieved himself on camera. But yeah, he licked a doorbell for 3 hours, which is just disturbing. You kind of laugh about it afterwards because technically he didn't harm anyone, he didn't break anything, homeowner Sylvia told ABC, but I don't know if I'd be able to laugh about it though because it was extremely weird. Number 2, strange woman. On August 24th, 2018, a resident from the Sunrise Ranch neighborhood in Montgomery, Texas, contacted local authorities after a strange woman rang her doorbell in the middle of the night. A partially undressed woman who appeared to be wearing some sort of hand restraint rang the bell and left. Some people believe she was related to a local missing persons, but law enforcement do not believe that she matched the missing person flyers that were sent in. Now, deputies canvassed the area with descriptions of the mysterious woman and asked neighbors if they had heard anything. Then on August 29th, authorities identified the 32-year-old woman as only Lauren. Police confirmed that she was alive after a house call. A man in the home threatened to end his life, and when authorities arrived, they discovered the man, later identified as Dennis Collins. He had died from a self-inflicted. Now, Dennis's girlfriend was the mysterious woman. Authorities say she is the victim of domestic violence. On September 18th, Lauren opened up on Inside Edition detailing how she ended up at the doorbell. She fell asleep next to her boyfriend of 4 months and woke up to what seemed like a nightmare. I woke up and he was kneeling on my chest and stuffing some sort of cloths in my mouth, she said. I truly felt like I was going to die that night. And coming in at number 1 is house explosion. On August 16th of this year, an explosion in a residential suburb outside of Pittsburgh left 6 people dead, including a father and son, and injured several others. It destroyed 3 houses and damaged at least a dozen more, authorities said. First responders who rushed to the plum found people trapped under debris and took 3 people to the hospital. The remains of 5 victims, 4 adults and 1 child, was also found at the scene. Another person died a couple days later at a local hospital. The Allegheny County Office of the Medical Examiner said that the incident appeared to begin when one house exploded, engulfing 2 neighboring homes in flames as well, according to the county. Now, multiple other homes were damaged with windows blown out, and crews from 18 fire departments covered the scene and put out the flames and sift through the rubble. Now, what's incredible is that a neighboring house caught the explosion on camera. Fire officials are still investigating the cause of the explosion, and investigators are aware the homeowners of the exploded house were having issues with the water tank in their basement and are looking into that as a potential cause, along with any and all other possibilities, they said in an update. I heard this boom, it was so loud that it woke me up. I thought it was thunder from the storms last night, a neighbor Alexis Tempinski told CNN affiliate WTAE. My water bottle fell on me instantaneously. I was shaking. It scared me so bad.